Welcome back. You are tuned in to IBL, inspired by Onika, speaking on life and inspiring people. Hey everybody, welcome back to the IBL podcast, and this is episode 63. And the title for today is Filler Words. What are they? Why we use them? And how to decrease or stop using them altogether. So the reason I'm doing this episode today is because I'm one of those people that likes to use filler words. And it's not because I like them, but just simply because sometimes I struggle with a description of either a person or a thing, and I just can't think of a word. And other times I just can't articulate it the right way. But filler words, they're not all bad. They are a part of our natural conversation and speech. And the problem doesn't come in because we're using filler words. It comes in when we overuse them. So what are filler words? They're things like, I think, you know, so, like, just, I mean, at the end of the day. You understand what I'm saying? So those are some examples of filler words, and there are others, but those are some of the ones that you may hear a lot. Those are some of the most common ones. Now, why do we use filler words? So what I've researched so far is that people use filler words because they're either anxious, insecure, unprepared, nervous, they fear that silence in their speech, or they lack confidence. And there are some other reasons too that I've read about. Now, I would say about a year or two, someone gave me some very, very valuable feedback. They said, try to eliminate or avoid the use of certain phrases in your presentation. I kept repeating the phrase, you know. I kept saying that over and over. And that was my most common filler words that I was using at the time. And I never even realized it until that person brought it to my attention. And since that time, I try to eliminate using filler words or phrases, but I don't always succeed in that. But I'm definitely a lot more conscious of it. So the two main reasons why I use filler words is because I don't like the silence, that deathly awkward silence. So when someone's asking me a question and I'm trying to answer it, but I'm not really sure of the complete sentence that I want to say, I feel like I have to keep going. I have to keep saying something until I can get my full thought out. So that's one of the reasons why I do it, is for that fear of silence. Okay. It's just so awkward to me. And the other reason I do it is because I'm anxious. So when I'm articulating something, or I just can't think of how I want to say something, that's what I do. I start using those filler words. And I am still, even though I've done video and audio before, I'm still camera shy. So sometimes I'm anxious because I'm thinking, okay, am I going to forget something, or am I going to add something in that's unrelated? So it's just all kinds of thoughts that come to mind, but those are my two main reasons. Now, everyone has different reasons why they do it. So, and like I said, filler words they're not all bad. They are a part of natural speech and conversation. It's just when we use them too much, that's when it becomes an issue. So how can we eliminate or reduce using filler words? So some things that we can do to either reduce or just stop using them altogether is, we can practice. So you can record yourself for maybe like 1 to 3 minutes, play it back, and you can hear what words you're overusing. Then you can think of other words to use in their place, or maybe consider taking them out altogether, but make sure that what you're saying still makes sense. So that's one way that we can at least identify the filler words that we use, and we can think about other ways that we can either replace them with something else or take them out altogether and still make sense in what we're saying. Another thing we can do is, well, first, let me just say this. So we're not perfect. Okay. We're going to repeat ourselves at one point or another. So don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. Just, it's okay. So one of the things we can do is to pause, breathe, slow down your speech. Okay. Now, the part about slowing down your speech is not possible for everyone because some of us just have a naturally fast speech pattern. So, of course, if you're that person and you just naturally speak in a fast pace, then your problem is really not that you're using filler words. You just speak, at a rapid pace. So one of the things that I've noticed in other people when they're speaking is sometimes I feel like they're speaking so fast that they're just trying to hurry up and get out the thought before they forget. And while they're doing that, they forget to breathe, right? So there is nothing wrong with stopping, taking a pause when you can't think of something. And research has shown too that when people hear others using those filler words, they start to get disinterested. They don't want to listen anymore. And then also, some people say when they hear others using filler words, they feel like that we're lying. They don't believe what we're saying because we keep using filler words. Because if we're confident, we're going to be straightforward. We're honest about what it is we're saying. So why are we stumbling and stammering over our words? Now, if you're someone, especially if you're someone who creates content, whether it's video or audio, and you stutter, some people, they're going to click that X right at the top. They're going to stop listening and watching because they may feel like, okay, you're not confident in what you're saying. Either you're unprepared in your presentation or you don't believe it yourself. You're just lying. So, and you're just out here saying things that are untrue. So therefore, they're just not going to listen anymore. So the key to it is that we have to be confident. We have to be knowledgeable about what we're saying. Now, the other side of this is that there are some people who they're just naturals. They can speak right off the top of their head and not skip a beat. They just have that natural gift, but not everyone has that. So when I'm doing my messages and videos, most of the time I have it written out. But even in doing that, when I'm done with the presentation, I still feel like, okay, I left something out, or maybe I added something that I didn't write before I started. And another thing too is when we're doing presentations, whether they're in person, video, audio, sometimes we're so passionate, we get so engrossed in the topic that we're speaking on that we do skip over some things. And that's when there's nothing wrong with taking a pause, stop until we can get our words the right way. Because if we don't speak clearly and strongly, then our words are not flowing, and people might think, well, I don't believe what you're saying. So that's one thing we may want to just keep in mind. And also, when we're doing the pause, it doesn't have to be a long pause, just enough so we can stop and regroup. And then we can go back and complete our sentence, or we can just start over. Whatever works best, you decide what works best for you. So just recap on this episode. So we talked about filler words, what they are, why we use them, and how to reduce or eliminate the use of them. And I hope that this has been helpful to anyone who experiences this. We're going to repeat ourselves. We're going to use a filler word at one time or another. And there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to improve on public speaking or just speaking in general, this may be something to think about. And also, if you're a person who you've tried some other techniques and you want to share and help others, by all means, please do. Let us know what you've tried and what's been successful for you. So thank you again for listening. This is episode 63. This is about filler words, what they are, why we use them, and how to decrease or stop using them. And you can hear this and all episodes on the Podbean app, on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, and Spotify. Again, thank you for listening, and until next time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the IBO podcast. You can hear this and all episodes on the Podbean app, YouTube, and Spotify. Until next time, stay well and be blessed.